All right, finally we get to some medieval humor. Everything's so serious, and look at the Seafarer and the Wanderer. They were both such sad poems, and then in Death of Arthur, Arthur dies, of course, and we had some humor in the Canterbury Tales, but I love these two poems, and you might think I'm crazy when I finish reading them and ask me why, because the first one sounds in a way like it's quite morbid. However, these two Corbies, or crows, pictured on page 194, have just found a dead knight. Now that's sad. However, this is the medieval period, and they have gone through so much death. In the 1300s, they went through the Black Death, and this poem reminds me of emergency room humor. If you know anyone who's worked in ER for years, they will tell you that if people could hear the jokes they make about the messed up people that come in, they would think they were just horrible people, but it's a survival mechanism. How many of you ever saw the movie MASH, in the little series MASH? Have seen any of those? In MASH, it's about a medical unit in the war and how they joke constantly while they're doing surgeries, and people would think it was terrible, but it was a movie that revealed using humor as a survival mechanism. If you work in the emergency room and you see a little child come in, this beautiful little 2-year-old that's been torn up by a dog, it's the kind of thing that makes you just want to faint or walk away, but you have to deal with it. And so people make jokes about things. And the only jokes I know from the emergency room that I have two cousins who worked each over 10 years in ER. And none of their jokes are appropriate to tell here, but they say such hilarious things, you know, and it's a way to survive. So this poem was written in that sort of spirit. Here are these two crows, and they found this knight, and they're discussing how they're going to eat it and what they're going to do with it. Okay, so let's take a look at it. It says, and there are a lot of words that are translated on the body. I'm thinking of the poor knight. On the bottom of the page, Twa Corbies is the ravens or the crows. Ravens are bigger, so ravens. Two, main means moan, and Elaine means alone. So they rhyme. I was Elaine, and the horse has a, no, not a horse has a mane. Moan is a mane. Okay, fall dyke. A fall dyke is a bank of earth. What? W-O-T means no. I what not to do. I know not what to do. So that's no. Kens is nose. He kens. And housebane is neck bone. Iron is eyes. And theek is thatch, like when you thatch a roof. Okay, let's read it and see what we get. As I was walking all alane, I heard Twa Corbies making a main, and tane to the tither did say, where shall we gang and dine the day? In behind yon old fall dyke, I wot there lies a new slain knight, and nobody kens that he lies there but his hawk, his hound, and his lady fair. His hound is to the hunting gain, his hawk to fetch a wild fowl hame. His lady's ta'en another mate, so we may make our dinner swate. You'll sit on his white house bane, and I'll pick out his bonny blue ain. Wi' a lock o' his golden hair, we'll theek our nest when it grows bare. Mony a one for him makes main, but nane shall ken where he is gane. Or his white banes, when they are bare, the wind shall blow forevermore. Okay. All right. How many understood that? Yeah. Okay, let's read it again. I was walking all alone when I heard two ravens making a moan. One said to the other, where shall we go and dine today? In behind that heap of earth, I found a new slain knight, and nobody knows that he lies there except his hawk, his hound, and his lady fair. His hound's gone hunting, the hawk has gone to fetch the game home, his lady's taken another mate, so we may make our dinner sweet. You'll sit on his white house bane, his neck bone, and I'll pick out his bonny blue eyes. With a lock of his golden hair, we'll thatch our nest when it grows bare. Many a one for him is moaning and wailing, but none shall know where he is gone. or his white bones, when they are bare, the wind shall blow forevermore. So no one knows where he is. He's just going to lay there. He won't get buried. So, kind of dark humor, I guess. All right, so this poem, I have had people do paraphrases of it. In fact, I rewrote it in modern English, and I made it as a poem again, but I don't know where that went. I think I have it. As I was walking all alone, I heard two crows chatter and moan. One of them said unto the other, where shall we go and dine today, brother? In the ditch there on your right, I saw a corpse of a newly slain knight, and no one knows he's met his end, but his hawk, his dog, and his female friend. Off a-hunting is the hound. The hawk seeks wild fowl on the ground. His lady's taken another mate, so we can dine until it's late. On his neck bone you can eat, his bonny blue eyes can be my treat, and with the lock of his golden hair will thicken our nest when it grows bare. Many a man for him is crying, but none of them know where he is lying. And over his bleached white bones unburied, the wind shall dance and blow unharried. Modern translation by Pflaumer. So there you go. That's in modern words, and it still rhymes, but it's not really funny, is it? But it's funny. It's funny because someone wrote this about these birds and this guy. I mean, there's something, the only person laughing is Alice, and that's because she has the most morbid sense of humor you can ever imagine. She thinks it's funny. No, really, it's just dark humor. So we're going to look at that one, and now we're going to go to one I really like. I think this one is hilarious. Let's see if you can get it. This is called Get Up and Bar the Door, or Gay Up and Bar the Door. And we're going to read it as it's written, but let's look at the vocabulary to see if that will help you understand what's being read. Martin Mass is the Mass of Martin is November 11, Martinmas. Hussy Scap, household duties. Hussy Scap. Anyway, kind of like busy. And it should me, if it is to be barred by me, then it will not be barred in 100 years. That's where it's footnote number 3. It says, and it should nae be barred this 100 year. It's no be barred for me. He means if the door's going to be barred in 100 years, if it takes 100 years, I'm not going to do it. Paction is an agreement, and number 5 is just telling you that the them they're talking about is the husband and wife. Okay, let's read this. I'll know if you get it by your reaction in the end. It fell about Martinmas time, and a gay time it was then, when our good wife got puddings to make. She boiled them in the pan. The wind say called, blew south and north, and blew into the floor. Quoth our good man to our good wife, gee up and bar the door. Okay, he's sitting on his rear, right? The wind's coming in, it's cold, he tells her to close it. My hand is in a hussif scap, good man, as ye may see, and it should nae be barred this 100 year, it no be barred for me. Basically here she's saying, get up and close it yourself, I'm working, you know, you're sitting there. They made a paction tween them twa, they made it firm and sure, that the first word where'er should speak should rise and bar the door. Then by there came 2 gentlemen at 12 o'clock at night, and they could neither see house nor hall, nor coal nor candlelight. Now whether is this a rich man's house, or whether it is a poor, be ne'er a word what one of them speak for barring of the door. Okay, so these 2 men come into the house. They say, is this a rich man's house or a poor? But no one will answer them because of the agreement about barring the door. And first they ate the white puddings, the 2 men, and then they ate the black, though muckle thought the good wife to hersel, yet ne'er a word she spak. Then said one unto the other, here man, take ye my knife. Do ye take off the old man's beard, I'll kiss the good wife. But there's nae water in the house, and what shall we do then? What ails ye at the pudding, bro, that boils into the pan? Why did they want to worry about water? He was going to shave this guy. Oh, up then started our good man. An angry man was he. Will ye kiss my wife before mine eye, and scald me with pudding brie? Then up and started our good wife. Guide 3 steps on the floor. Good man, you spoken the foremost word, gee up and bar the door. Okay, so it's like closing the barn door after the horse gets out, right? She's won the argument. Now he's going to lock the door, but the thieves have already come in. So this is gay up and bar the door. So a little bit of medieval humor. Okay, on these two poems, do you have any questions about these? The parts you didn't understand in the second one. Shall we go over it again in a little more modern translation? It fell about the time of St. Martin's feast, which is a really happy, celebrated time, and this wife was going to make the traditional puddings in her pan. The wind so cold blew south and north, and it blew into the house, and the good man said to the wife, "Go close the door. I'm really busy, as you might see. It's not going to be closed for 100 years if it has to be closed by me." Then they made a deal between them, and they made it firm and sure. The first word that anyone spoke should be the one to rise and lock the door. Then by there came two gentlemen at midnight, and they could neither see house or hall, nor coal, nor candlelight. They couldn't see very well. It was dark, and so they go in and they say, "Is this a rich man's house or a poor?" So here these robbers come in. They say, "Hey, are you rich or poor? We want your stuff," basically. But no one would answer them. They just sat there like a couple of mutes because they didn't want to lose the bet. And so the guys go, fine. They eat the pudding, the white pudding, the black pudding. "Oh, shoot," thought the wife to herself, but she wouldn't say a word. Then said the one man to the other, "Here, you take my knife and shave the old man's beard," which is a real disgrace for him to be shaved, "and I'll kiss his wife. But there's no water in the house. How can I do that?" And he says, "Oh, use the hot. You get it hot in the pudding." And then the good man is really mad, and he finally jumps up and yells, "You're going to kiss my wife right in front of me and scald me with pudding broth?" Then up jumps the wife, dances 3 steps on the floor. I can just imagine she's clapping her hands. "You've spoken the foremost word. Go over and close the door." Okay, is that clearer now? All right. All right. Good. Now you have an assignment on these. Let's see. No, tomorrow we start test review. You can turn that off, Holly. Tomorrow we're going to